I called a couple of FISBOs. Um, my life's been a little crazy, but I'm hoping to get it under control.
Okay. And from what I understand, you had some appointments with an expired, with a for sale by owner. Did you ever get anywhere with just listed, just sold?
No,
Okay.
I just listed a home, so I've got to go, gonna go door knocking around that neighborhood and just had a closing yesterday, so gonna door knock around that neighborhood as well.
Okay, awesome. And Garrett, what are you calling right now?
I've just been calling everything. Expireds, FISBOs, just listed, just sold.
Tell us what you've done in the last couple of weeks, like appointment wise with those sources.
Recently it's been a lot slower because I've been getting either we're waiting until the spring and then I go through that objection handler, or we're just gonna wait until the beginning of the year. That's what I've got. So I haven't had any appointments in the past probably 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
But I have a ton of leads that I'm following up with towards the beginning of the year.
Okay. And you guys, this is the great thing about making calls right now, is that even though you may miss some, maybe you're going to lose some, but look at all the leads, look at all the business Garrett has for the beginning of the year, right? So we're going to go through some objection handlers, and I pulled up the expired script, the for sale by owner script, and the just listed, just sold. So think of it as just a lot of questions, right? So regardless of if, like, even if you're doing a for sale by owner and expired, or even if you're doing your sphere of influence, it's a neighbor, and you sit down with them and they're trying to decide whether to go with a discount broker or you've got to, all of a sudden, you've got to build value, right? So you've got to, like, all of a sudden, you've got to come up with some sound bites, some questions. You've got to build some additional value for that person. So same thing. It's no different than with how you build value with a for sale by owner. And then with the just listed, just sold, you get somebody at the door, a more cold lead, and there's no competition like you do with for sale by owners and expires. But when you get somebody at a cold door and they go, well, or, maybe, now you're like having to like build that vision, because they may have just started thinking, depending on where they are during that process. Now you're building the vision and then you're building the value. So you're like, it's about that thing about being more curious than assuming. So I've written down a bunch of objections that we're hearing right now, things like, I'm going to wait until the go back down. I'm going to wait till my house goes back up. Like Garrett said, I'm going to wait till the spring. So we're just going to start throwing out a bunch of objections. Now, Dawn, are you okay with participating in this?
Yeah, I am. And Daryl, you need to mute your microphone.
Oh, is that Daryl?
Thank you.
Thank you, Daryl.
That wasn't me.
Oh. No worries. So, and we're just gonna we're kind of gonna do kind of a round robin, and one of the best ways to respond to an objection is, of course, repeat and affirm. So you're repeating what the objection is, so they know we're listening, right? And then we're affirming something, hey, I completely understand, if I were you, I'd feel the same way, or I know that's a big decision, or, fantastic, that's an affirmation, just some kind of affirmative word. And then you're asking just a couple more questions. That's a really good way to respond if you don't have some kind of a, like something memorized, or you don't have kind of an experience that relates to that, right? Those are 3 ways to respond. So again, repeat and affirm. It gives us a chance to think of what those questions are that we're going to ask, right? It was kind of like, hey, I understand that you need to wait until spring. One thing that with waiting till spring, and we don't have all those scripts up here right now, but always ask, what is the reason you would like to wait until spring? You want to know, is it a condition or an objection? Because that's what we're getting right now. And also, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is making the most amount of money important to you? Because if making more money is important to them, help them understand that if they wait until spring, inventory is going to go up at that point. Would it make sense for you to sell before spring and make more money now, even if we delay the closing date a little bit so you can move well after the holidays? But let's get it sold now where you can make more money now before inventory goes up, competition becomes more fierce. Right now, law of economics is that when inventory is low, right? When inventory is down, sellers will get more money for their homes because there's less competition. Buyers don't have as much to look at, and so they're going to get a higher price on their home because there's going to be bidding wars, right? So we need to at least explain that to them, because in their minds, they think that it's a better time in the springtime, right? So Dawn, I think we're going to wait until spring.
I can appreciate you waiting. Is there a particular reason why you'd want to wait till spring, Katie?
Well, Dawn, our neighbor down the road told us that, it's kind of a bad time to sell during the winter. And we just feel like, we just want to give it a break. And so we're just going to put it down, and then we'll just list it in the spring when it's a better time.
Okay. Yeah, I can appreciate that, Katie. A lot of other people are probably thinking the exact same thing, that they want to sell their home, but they also want to wait till spring, which means you're going to have some more competition. It'd be to your advantage right now to get it listed now when there's less inventory on the market, and rather than waiting till spring when you've got more competition. And also, that when buyers are out looking at homes right now, when it's cold and during the holidays, they're pretty serious buyers, or they wouldn't be out traipsing through the snow and the cold. So the buyers that will look at your home at this time of the year are serious. They're not just looking around. Does that make sense to you, Katie?
That makes a lot of sense. I've never had anybody explain it to me that way.
Okay. Yeah. So let's just get this home listed now instead of in the spring. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Close me.
Okay.
Me 2 times.
Okay, so let's I have a few more questions to ask you, and then we can just start filling out the paperwork and get your home on the market and get you to your new place that much sooner.
Great. Good job, Dawn.
Thank you.
So yeah, when you're ready to close, give them, are you available this time or this time? Close them. Do the pre-qual just like Dawn did. Good job, Dawn. That was awesome.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if we were on the phone or if we were in person or what we were doing.
Yep. So either, whether you're on the phone, in person, give them 2 times. And the best way to control your schedule, right, is to give someone 2 times that is good for you. There's no better time to control your schedule, or no better way to control your schedule than to give somebody 2 times that are good for you, right? All right. Garrett, I'm going to give you the same objection. So Garrett, I want to wait until spring. Everybody's told me it's better time to wait until spring.
Okay, and is that the reason you're wanting to wait until the spring?
Well, we just had it on for a while, and we just think we're going to give it a break for a minute, and then we'll try again in the springtime. Maybe we'll get more money if we wait. We've just been told it's a bad time to sell right now.
Okay, I got you. And is making the most amount of money important to you?
We'd like to make as much as we can. We really do need to make as much as we can.
Okay, and I'm going to share this information with you, regardless of whether you decide to move forward now or wait until the spring. The problems that come with taking your home off the market and relisting it in the spring is that's what everybody's doing. So currently, inventory is coming down, and with law of economics, when when demand stays the same and supply comes down, prices will go up. But in the spring, when everybody relists their home, supply is going to go back up and prices will come back down. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. And do you think it would be worth your time to have us come out and meet with you either today at 2 or tomorrow at 2 o'clock, just to see whether we could help you out or not? That work?
Yeah, possibly today it would work.
Okay, sounds good. And before I come out, I do have a few more questions to ask you. Is now a good time?
Sure.
Awesome.
And there's two things, Garrett. When you're doing the pre-qual, maybe like instead of asking them if they have time, no one's going to tell you they have time. They're
Okay.
going to tell you, hey, can you call me later? They're going to like shut you down really fast. So always just assume people have time until they tell you, hey, I've got to go, I'm at work. I've got to have you call me back.
Okay.
So just, hey, I've got a couple more questions really quick, go boom, right into them. Don't ask them because you'll never get them to say they'll let you.
Okay.
Especially if you've been on the phone with them at all.
Yeah.
But no, have you been doing that script with people on the phone? Because it sounds really good.
Yeah, I have. I've done
The
it. I've done that quite a bit.
The only thing that I would say is like building just a little bit more empathy into your scripting, because your reasoning behind what you're doing, it sounds great. But like maybe just adding a little bit more into, hey, what are the reasons you guys are moving? You know, hey, go more into depth about, what are the reasons you're wanting to wait? What were the reasons why you were selling before? Maybe just ask a couple more questions. I set the appointment with you, but I probably wouldn't have because I didn't feel, I guess I probably should have kept going with you, but I think that's maybe why you're not getting the appointments right now. So if you're not getting the appointments and you're doing that scripting, what I would do is not give up so easily. If people aren't scheduling the appointments with you, maybe circle back around and try to keep asking them some additional questions about like why they're moving, like maybe some questions about like, are you building? Are you moving outside the area? What are some things you like about your home now? Maybe that you're going to change about the next house. Build the vision with them about where they're going, because that will connect you to them a little bit more. And I bet you will get more results if you start building a little bit more rapport with them.
Okay.
And using that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So like basically after the waiting until the spring objection and they say, no, we're still going to hold off, then would you go into kind of like, oh, where were you guys planning on moving to?
Exactly.
Okay. And just continue down, almost just down the script here.
Yep.
Okay.
And then that one question about the whole time frame, if you can't get anywhere with them, kind of bring out that question of, if I did have a buyer and they wanted to write an offer on your particular home, would you want me to call you about it?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Try to
Yeah.
figure out like what exactly is their motivation, because if they say yes, maybe you caught them on a bad day. Maybe you need to give them a call back.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, all right. Dawn, do you have an objection that you're hearing or did hear a couple weeks ago that like you got stumped on or like you couldn't push through, something along those lines?
Perhaps they want to continue interviewing agents.
Okay. When you're pre-qualifying, are you asking if they're talking to other agents on the pre-qualification questions?
Yes.
Okay, good. So let's throw that one out there. And so go ahead and just throw that one out at me. Let's just go through this.
Okay.
Ask me how they would say it to you.
Okay. Hey, Katie, I appreciate your information, but as you know, we are interviewing a couple of more agents, and we don't want to make a decision until we have interviewed everyone.
Okay, that sounds great. Now, when we were talking on the phone, how many other agents have you already met with? Now, are we in an appointment like at the end of the listing presentation?
Correct.
Okay. So when we were talking on the phone, have you already met with several agents already, or am I your first agent that you're meeting with?
No, we've talked to a couple of agents already.
Okay, great. And then how many other agents are you scheduled to meet with?
At least one, but possibly two.
Okay, perfect. And what I will tell you is that, what I will do for you is, what if I were to personally call them and make sure that any buyers that they have right now, that I make sure that they get first chances to get their buyers through, so that they have an opportunity to make that buyer agent commission on the other end. And then I'll let them know that we've got your home on the market and that they have that opportunity to bring their buyers through and get that commission, and that they have first opportunity to do that and get their buyers through as quickly as possible. And then that way we can get your home on the market, get it marketed, and get it sold as quickly as possible.
Well, I appreciate that, but I know the one agent that we do have an appointment with, I kind of feel like it was a referral from a really good friend of mine, so I feel like I owe it to my friend to at least talk to their agent.
No, and this is a tough one because and we need to do a listing presentation, because the whole listing presentation is about building rapport with the client. And if you get down to the end and they want to still meet with agents, or they don't feel connected to you to where they want to talk to other people, it's a tough one, because there's not a whole lot you can do at that point. Does that make sense? And this is where like the listing presentation becomes really crucial. And when I say, like, before you even go into talking about price, you've got to have that person choose you, which means you've got to build great rapport by asking a lot of questions that no one really else is going to ask them. Because if you think about when you go in and buy something, whether it's furniture, a cell phone, a car, when you have a salesperson that really dives in and asks you a lot of questions and finds out all about what you want and finds out all about you, like it kind of binds you to that person, to where, you run into people all the time that they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry I didn't call you." And they're like your sister, your aunt, your best friend. And they're like, I just totally forgot you were in real estate. This is why these things happen, is because people are really good at building rapport with people. And it's not even rapport. Like, you already have rapport with your friend, your family members. It's value that they build. It's about finding out what people want to accomplish, their goals, what they're really looking for, like seeing that vision that they're looking for. And that's why when you have, it's like that, what's it called? Like that emotional buying. You go in like a house, a car, like you want it, right? You like everything, like people that sell those things, it goes out the window, you guys, because like that person, if you got a good salesperson, all those things go out the window, because if you're good at building rapport with someone, they're not thinking about their friend that's in real estate. They want that car. And if you're good at building rapport, they're not thinking about that other person. So you've got to be really good at building rapport with people. And if you are, they're not going to think about those other agents that they're supposed to be meeting with. And it's a really powerful thing if you can, build that value with someone before you ever talk about price. Because if you go into talking about price before you build that value with a client, the only way they're going to see that value is they're going to ask for a discount with your commission. They're going to overprice the listing. They're not going to see value. That the only way they're going to see value is through money. And then the whole transaction is going to be about money. They're going to ask you to drop your commission the whole way through. They're going to ask the lender to drop their commission. They're going to ask the title to drop their commission. They're going to ask everybody. Nobody has any value at that point, right? So it's like, and it all stems back to like, do you see value in what you do, right? How much value do you have in your job? Do you believe you're worth a 3% commission or 6% commission for both sides? And if you don't see that you're worth that commission, then they're not going to see that you're worth that commission, right? So, does that make any sense? Anybody on? Don't Pat gave me thumbs up. But I have a really, it's mostly, it follows along the Mike Ferry, but there's, even when Mike Ferry does his listing presentation, there's about, as a lot of you know, especially Kelly, there's, 60 to 100 additional questions that he asks. It's not just, that's just a basic framework of questions, but it's like just about being a lot more curious, getting the other person to just start talking, getting out of your own way. It doesn't matter what you can do. It doesn't matter what you can provide them. It only matters what's important to that other person that you're talking with, right? Are you guys on? I don't get to see anybody's face. I don't get to hear anybody. Garrett, are you still on?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. So what is another objection you're hearing?
I don't know.
What are you doing with the people that are saying, I want to wait till the rates go back down?
I don't know. I haven't really done anything with them. I just kind of have them in my system and like with a date to follow up with them.
Are you letting them know about the great opportunity right now as far as like going out and buying before rates go back down?
No, I haven't. I haven't gotten one of those objections for a while, so I'm gonna have to go back and call through the people that I have with that objection. But I feel like there's been a few expireds that already have an agent, or they're just like stuck on one guy and they're just not open to even meeting with somebody else. That's been one that I've been getting.
So what I would do, Garrett, is I would not give up, because unless they've already relisted, of course.
Yeah.
Really, there's some, and I can send you, and I think I've already put them somewhere, but I can send you these. There's some really good objection handlers for expireds, and especially when they go to list with the same person, because there's that thing that, that Jeff, I never say the word insanity, but I just say, there's something to say about doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, right? And so, and I love Kyle Whiff, who does a ton of business out of St. George, that's on our role play a lot with us. And he says, let me come in, do you know the techniques I use to sell homes? That's exactly why we need to get together, because, I'll show you how I'm different from the agent that you just, had an experience with, and then set an appointment with them. You've got to get them excited that, you know, not all agents are created equally. Right?
Yeah.
You know, help them understand, like, you know, when you go to a doctor, do you go and get two different opinions? Why do you go get two different opinions when you go to a doctor?
So you can have confidence in it.
Exactly. So would we ever go get two different opinions from an attorney, a doctor, a builder, you know, whatever we're going to go do, if we thought everyone was created equal?
No.
No. Right? So kind of like in your, like, and like just in your, and then you just start showing just great empathy, right? Just, hey, I can't even imagine how stressful it must have been to have your home on the market for that period of time and not be able to get it sold, first of all, and now trying to figure out, you know, is there a better option? You know, should you be looking at a different, you know, real estate agent? But I would like to show you how I do my business different. And I'd like to show you the techniques I use to sell home and how they're different from most agents in the market. You know, I've got some time this time or this time. And, you know, instead of you, you know, spinning your wheels and, you know, doing the same thing you did the last 6 months, expecting a different result. Right?
Yeah, I like that. I'll have to use that.
So, Dawn, anything for you lately with even the couple of weeks ago? I know when you went on your appointments, how did those go?
Well, that for sale by owner, that he's the one who wanted to, they had appointments scheduled to meet with more agents, which was really weird. I mean, I asked him a ton of questions and we had a ton of things. The more we talked, the more we discovered we had in common, and we discovered we knew a lot of common people. But it was still a no-go. So
Where was he going? What was his motivation?
he had a new job in Idaho.
Okay. And when did he need to be there?
Like in 3 days after I met with him.
Oh my goodness. So was he meeting with other agents?
Yes.
And was that his final thing, that he wanted to meet with other people?
Correct.
So did you follow up with him after you left?
I did. I called, I texted, I did everything, and he never responded to anything after our meeting.
You know, and then there's those ones, Dawn, that you have to really realize. I mean, you've been in this business a really long time, and sometimes it's a matter of they just went with somebody else. And it doesn't hurt even now, like if he still has the same cell phone number. One thing that I have learned is if you don't get offended and you call back people, sometimes they feel enough bad that they didn't call you back or tell you why they didn't list with you or whatever, that they will give you referral business. So
I called after he listed it just and said that same thing, hey, if you know anybody who, I could help, I realize you've gone with somebody else, and he still I've never heard anything from him.
Okay, well, there's some of those that you just chalk up to, it just happened and you just have to move on. But, that was a really good experience for you because you haven't called a lot of for sale by owners.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to get an appointment as quickly as you did, I mean, that was great. But don't let that sour your, because to get an appointment with a for sale by owner so quickly and have that experience, Garrett, as a brand new, not a brand new, but he's only been in the business just over a year. He's been setting up appointments for Ryan Ivy with for sale by owners and has had some success this year. So
He
keep
may have
going.
gone, I think he may have gone with somebody that offered a commission reduction or something, I don't know.
Yeah, and and that happens. So just keep going. Don't give up on it. And for sell by owners and expireds, I always say as you're starting those, always do the just listed and just sold, because once you find a lead with just listed and just sold, there's no competition. Like you're the only one usually talking to that person, where for sell by owners and expireds, you're usually competing against other agents. So always like do those once or twice a week as you're first starting, so that you can build those skills. But don't have it as like your only source of business for any means. But continue to build those skills, because I mean, you really do have some skills with that. So don't give up on it. I wrote down, let's see, that's a little bit more time. Another one with expired, we are no longer moving. That's going to be an objection you hear almost every time you call an expired. You've got to be able to push past that objection. If you've ever called expireds, if you just keep calling and they're just going to say, nope, we're no longer moving, you're just going to continue to just hang up the phone. So you've got to, say something along the lines of, I can appreciate, that you had your home on the home market for 6 months. Where were you going to move? Or try to, ask a question before they hang up. While your home was on the market, if I were to ask your agent, why would they tell me your home didn't sell? Try to look at that script, try to ask a question before they hang up the phone to try to build that rapport with them. Hey, I can understand the frustration in your voice, having your home on the market, if you can hear kids in the background. It sounds like you have had to do showings with your kids. Like I've had to do that in the past. How frustrating. If I were to reach out to your agent, why would they tell me that your home did not sell? Try to keep them on the phone long enough to try to keep asking them questions about what's going on with their house, so you can find out their motivation. I would always try to just, if they were motivated enough, they had to sell, right? They were moving for a job transfer. They were building a home, something where they had to sell. Those are the people that I'm going to follow up on. Those are the people I'm going to follow up on a weekly basis. And the people that are following up on, especially expireds and for sell by owners, those are the agents that are getting those listings, because it's in the follow-up, right? And again, with the just listed and just sold, you've got to know those first 6 questions on that script, so that when you get to that 5th question, if you were to sell again, or if you were to move again, where would you go next? You guys, just the slightest little, well, you're taking off and you're building that vision. Would you stay in the same area? Would you go into some other, would you move out of the area? Would you build? Would you buy something existing? Now you're building that vision and seeing how motivated they are, right? Because you don't want to just set an appointment with someone that's not motivated. But people take some time to open up to you. You've got to ask enough questions to find out how motivated they are, right? I have a friend in the business. I think that we kind of covered that. Make sure you're asking, are they full-time or part-time, right? Because a lot of times we don't ask that, and they have a full-time job. They don't even do real estate hardly. And that's why they haven't listed with them. They're a brand new agent. They do it part-time. They really don't want to list with this person. If you were to give this client one reason to maybe not list with this person and give them that out, that's all they need, right? Ask them if they work in this market area. They may not even live somewhere within an hour driving distance, and we don't even ask. We just assume, oh, they're going to list with that other person. So make sure you're asking those 2 questions. Are they full-time or are they part-time? Do they live in this market area? Do they live outside the market area? Right? If you find out they're their mother or their child, right? but they're part-time and they live outside the market area. You know, you can always work something like, you know, hey, I understand, you know, you don't want to not do anything. It's your mom. But what if I worked out something with a referral with her so that you get the best service, you get the most money in your pocket, but I could give her a quick call and maybe we could do something with a referral. You guys, a lot of times that works out because the mom really doesn't want to handle the cell because it's outside the market area. She's really doing it just part-time. And then the child really doesn't want the mother to handle it because they want more money. They want a more professional agent in their area that's, you know, has more experience, that's going to get them more money in their pocket. And this gives them their out with their mother. So, you know, you just have to ask more questions, right? And then again, that one with, you know, write down, do you know the techniques that I use to sell homes? I love that right before you go to make that appointment. Do you know the techniques that I use to sell homes? Well, that's exactly why we need to get together. You know, are you available this time or this time? And then I have at the end of this just listed really quick before we get off the phone here. On this just listed, just sold script. If I can, I have these closes right here. So after you ask all the questions, this just gives you some really, can you guys see these closes?
Yeah, we
Oh,
can.
I didn't see that you were on, Mike.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
Good. No, I've just been listening and observing. It's good.
Okay.
Can I get a copy of this just listed
I am
script?
gonna give you a call, Mike.
Can I get a copy of this just listed just scold script?
Of course.
Thanks.
So if you take these closes right here, and after you ask all the questions, and you're going to try to close, so you're asking all these questions to try to, you know, find out their motivation, find out their time frame, right? And then these closes will help you actually set the appointment. So, you know, Mr. Seller, you know, what if it makes sense that because rates are up still and you have this window of opportunity, if we could find that perfect house so that we can, build your home, your dream home, and get you in, because builders are negotiating right now, because we have this window where builders are negotiating, and we can do that, the 3-1 buy down, and we can get a lender to do that, a deal for a refinance down the road. Would it make sense if we were to just get together and talk about what your home's worth, get you with a builder, get you with a lender, find out, get you the information, right? And just see if it makes sense right now. And would it be helpful for you to find out that information? I've got some time this time or this time, right? And then set the appointment. And then before I come out, I've just a couple more questions, boom, go right into the pre-qual. So you're asking the questions because you want to find out what their motivation is, what they're trying to do. But then these closes kind of help you with how do you tie everything together and then, close for an appointment. Does that make sense? Give me thumbs up if that makes sense. Or something, some kind of, okay, good. I get a couple of reactions. All right, did that help at all today? Did anybody learn anything? Yes, no, maybe
Yeah,
so.
that was helpful for me.
Okay, good.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. All right, well, you guys have a great holiday. This will be our last time before January. So I think our next time is January 5th, Thursday, January 5th. Our next group coaching won't be until January 16th. So you guys have a happy holiday. And again, if you guys need anything, if you want to run through these role plays, I'm happy to do that with anybody. I'll make calls with people. Whatever you guys need, I'm here for you. So You guys have a happy holiday and I'll see you next time.
Thanks, Katie.
Hey, thanks you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.